I don't know about you, but I love getting a gift. I love a gift. I think getting gifts is one of my spiritual gifts, right? Um, I am a spiritual gift receiver, so to speak. Um, but I get really excited because I feel special because I think like somebody took time out and thought about me and picked something out for me and gave it to me. A gift. They thought about me when I wasn't around and they picked something out just for me. And I'm like, wow, that makes me feel pretty special. But that's what God does. That's what God did when he made me and you and some of us mothers. He picked out a gift just for you. The amazing part about all of that is that he knows us, and he knew what was in us. He knew where we were in that moment in time, and he knew what we were going to do with this gift, and he gave it to us anyway. He knew some of us were crazy, some of us were inexperienced, some of us were too young and maybe even too old. And for some, didn't even have a relationship with Jesus at the time. But that's okay. Because sometimes he'll use that gift to direct you to him. I will never forget the privilege and the honor that I had to pray the prayer of salvation with both of my parents. Such an honor and such a privilege that this gift that he gave my mom, I would have the privilege of praying the prayer of salvation with her. This gift that God gives us, it's not perfect. And we as moms are not perfect. But God knew. He knew we would make mistakes, some of them major, but he gave us this gift anyway. Why? Because ultimately, this gift belongs to him. He gives it to us for a time, but ultimately, it belongs to him. I've heard people say they just kind of on loan. God is what some may call an Indian giver. Because he gave us this gift, and at some point, we know we got to give it back. God knew we were going to do the best that we could with the tools that we had to take care of this gift, even if it meant giving it to someone else to take care of. Knowing that that person would do a better job than we would. And that in itself is showing the appreciation of the gift because we knew we may not have had the tools to take care of this gift. Did God expect you to be a perfect parent? No. Of course not. Did he expect us to be a perfect parent? Did he expect us to be a perfect mom? No. Why? Because God was a perfect parent, yet Adam and Eve still cut up. He was the perfect parent, yet they made choices that changed the whole trajectory of mankind. So as much as we teach, we live before them, we try to set examples, at the end of the day, these gifts will make their own decisions. They'll make their own choices. That doesn't mean we didn't do the best we could with what we had. It just means that God gives us free will. Amen. God knew exactly how the story would go when he gave you this gift. God knew exactly how the story would go, but he gave you the gift anyway. God knew the tools that you had to work with. God knew what you were lacking, but yet he gave you the gift anyway. So let's talk about a few of these moms that may not have had all of the true tools. And we look at them and we can judge and we say, oh my gosh. But then we can see some of ourselves in some of these. In Genesis 16, we look at Sarai. This is before she became Sarah. She was impatient. And she wanted a gift. But God wasn't moving fast enough for her. So she decided, she had this great idea. I'm just going to tell my husband to sleep with my servant so he can have this baby. So she made that decision. But boy, did it blow up in her face. But God knew. So this servant, Hagar, talked about her in Genesis 16, I think, and also 21. She had relations with her husband, and she had a baby. And then she had the nerve to start feeling herself because she had a gift and Sarah didn't. So you talk about a messy mess. And God knew all of this, but yet he still gave them the gift. Later on down the line, we'll see that Sarah got a gift. But even in all of that, what he saw was that they were imperfect. They weren't perfect. But he still saw it fit for them to get a gift. Talk about drama. Y'all got to go back and read that story. It's drama and messy. Genesis 25. Rebecca. God gave her twins. And the crazy thing about that was while they were still in the womb, they were fighting in the womb. Can you imagine? I'd be like, you know what, God? I don't know what's getting ready to happen. But you got these two in the womb fighting already. They're not even here yet. Like, can we rethink this? Can I get a do-over? What's getting ready to happen? But Rebecca played favorites. You know, as a mom, you're not supposed to play. Listen, you're not supposed to play favorites. But she played favorites. And God knew. Don't tell nobody, but I kind of have one of mine kind of inches just a tad bit, but don't tell nobody. So Rebecca played favorites. Not only that, she flowed in a little bit of manipulation. So she got that little favorite thing going on. She got a little bit of manipulation going on. But yet God still gave her a gift, gave her two. What am I saying? As mothers, we're not perfect. But God sees something in us. He saw something in us to say, she's going to be okay. And so, for me, looking back over the 20 some odd years, longer than that I raised my kids, man, did I make a lot of mistakes. If I had a do-over, I would do some things differently. But just like I said, we work with the tools that we have. We do the best that we can with the tools that we have. And so we don't beat ourselves up. We don't go back and like, oh my gosh. Because at the end of the day, we're going to give this gift right back to God. And he's going to do some finishing things. And it may not look like what we think it should look like, but he's got it. Then I want to talk about real quickly the Levite woman that saw danger. She saw danger in her community, in her culture at the time, they were killing babies. They were killing kids. And when she got to a point where she couldn't hide her son anymore, she put him in a basket. And she walked down to the water and she put the basket in the water. As a mother, I couldn't even imagine. And so she did that to save his life. But can you imagine the pain and the anguish she must have felt to have to give up this gift? God gave her a gift and she was like, I got to give this gift away because I want to save my son. So I have to give this gift away. And she did that because she loved her son and did not want to see any harm come to him. And so remember in the beginning when I said sometimes as mothers, we may even have to give the gift away because it would be better for them if we did that versus keeping them. Then there was Mary, the teenage, unwed little girl that God gave the ultimate gift to. The number one greatest gift of all mankind. To a teenager that wasn't married. Can you imagine the talk and the whispers and the rumors and all of the things that were happening and how she felt because of all that? But God still saw fit to do it this way. The gift giver is perfect, and he knows what he's doing. We may not have known, but he gave us the gift anyway. And because of this gift, we learned so much. I have learned so much from my kids. Even now that they are grown, I am still learning from my kids. I think one of the biggest things I learned, some of this slang out here that I gotta, and it's new every week. It's something different. I was like, can you all just speak the King's English, please? What is that? But when I go to work, right, this is what happened. I have a young man that works for me. He's my kid's age. And something happened, and I was like, I ain't even gonna hold you. And he was like, wait a minute, Chief, what you know about that? It's like, don't worry about it. He was like, and you used it right. I was like, don't sweat me. Don't sweat me. Because of this gift, we learned so much. We gained so much wisdom. We learned so many lessons. And even those of us with grown kids, we are still learning. But here's one of the biggest things that I learned recently, is that they don't ultimately belong to me. And one of my kids, although I have lived my life before them as a woman of God as much as I could, I spent many hours, late nights, poured all the wisdom, told them all the dumb stuff I did growing up. I realized recently that I had to take a step back and move out of God's way. And when I tell you that hurt so bad, to not jump in there and try to rescue, Not jump in there and try to fix something. Not jump in there and try to make it all better. Like I did when they were little. God said, I need you to move back. I need you to take a step back now, because I got this. And I'm about to teach some lessons that they'll never forget for the rest of their life. And although you have done a good job, it's time for me to take over. And that was hard, and it broke my heart. I got some tissue just in case I start crying up here. But it was time for me to set aside and allow the Creator to show himself in their lives. To show them that mom is not the Christ. I can pray, I can cry, I can talk, but at the end of the day, you need to get on your knees and go before the Creator. And so these lessons that we learn from our kids, the wisdom, the knowledge, everything that we gain as moms, as I would say seasoned moms, I hope and I pray that we will impart some of this into some of the young mothers that are coming behind us. I cannot imagine having a little one and having to compete with the internet and social media. I cannot. I held off my boys getting a phone as long as I could. I was confiscating phones like every week. I think I got them all in a box somewhere. Well, where'd you get that phone from? It was thankfully towards the tail end of them being in high school. But I'm so thankful that God gave me during a time where it wasn't as popular and as prevalent. Because that's a big thing to have to compete with when you're raising kids. And so some of us seasoned moms, let's help with the younger ones. Because this day and age, it is truly going to take a village. It is truly going to take a village. Help where you can. Give wisdom and love. But most of all, love her the way Christ has loved you. Give her a break if you see there's a young mom in your life and you see she needs a break, give her a break. But model before her the character of Christ. That's the best thing that you can do. And let her know it's going to be okay. You're going to make mistakes, but it's going to be okay. God's got it. He's got it. Because ultimately, that gift that you got, you're going to have to get that back. I leave you with Proverbs 31. And this blew me away when I realized, because you hear Proverbs 31, oh, she this, she that, she great, she do all the things. She get up early, she stay up late. She sew, she cook, she clean. She got a business, then she take care of her. I'm like, listen, she doing the most. But when I realized that this was wisdom from a mother to her son, it blessed my soul. This is not just some random person saying, you need to do this, you need to do da-da-da-da-da-da. This is actually wisdom from a mother to her son. I want to read Proverbs 31, starting at verse 1. The sayings of King Lemuel, I know Lorenzo probably could have said that, rolled off the tongue like he said his name. Yes, what he said. Came this message which his mother taught him. This is a king who is remembering the lessons that his mom taught him. O my son, O son of my womb, O son of my vows, do not waste your strength on women. on those who ruin kings. What's that? Proverbs chapter what? That talks about the wayward. Chapter 7. Chapter 5. Is it one chapter 5 too, maybe?
There's a whole narrative from like 5 to 7. Yeah.
5, 7.
6 and 7 for sure.
She talk about them women.
Yeah. The harlot.
The harlot. Write that down. Write that down. Oh, my son, oh, son of my womb, oh, son of my vows, do not waste your strength on women, on those who ruin kings. I started to say something right there, but I'm not in the basement and it's not Saturday morning. I'm going to be good. It is not for kings, oh, Lemuel, to guzzle wine. Don't be out here being a drunkard. Rulers should not crave alcohol. In other words, conduct yourself as if you are a king. Conduct yourself as if you are royalty, right? For if they drink, they may forget the law and not give justice to the oppressed. Alcohol is for the dying and wine for those in bitter distress. Let them drink to forget their poverty and remember their troubles no more. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. This is a mother talking to her son. Ensure justice for those being crushed. Yes, speak up for the poor and helpless and see that they get justice. In other words, don't be so self-centered that you can't see, even though you are a king, even though you are in this particular posture, don't be so full of yourself that you can't see someone that really needs help. Amen. Then I want to drop all the way down to verse 28, where it says, she talked about this woman who is perfect, superwoman. Then she gets down to verse 28 and she says, her children stand and bless her. So she's given her son this template, if you will. And not only is she telling him, look for these things, he also needs to peer into this woman, spend enough time with this woman, get to know this woman's character long enough to know that she's going to be a good mother. And you may not see that at the time, but you need to take time enough to know that she's going to be a good mother. This mom is teaching her son not only what to look for in a wife, but to see the qualities in her that will make her a good mother. And how will he know? Because he has watched his own mom all the days of his life. Amen. Amen. So the word says, stand and bless her. So if you are here today and you are not a mother, I want us to stand and bless these mothers. Amen. Give them a hand. Oh, y'all can do better than that now.